pop a card off, and count without saying the 1 and the 2.
Been there. I took a television production class in high school, so I know the whole.
Me too. We did like the news for the school.
We did some stuff for the actual school channel. I don't know if everybody has a school channel, but in Virginia, your school district typically has a channel. I was even an anchor on the show before, and like I had people that like I knew, like older people that I knew was like, "Hey, did I see you on TV?" Yeah, you saw me on TV. But what you saw was like takes and takes and takes on stuff, because once the camera's turned on, I don't like being on camera. So like what's like I have to read from like a teleprompter and stuff like that. I was just like, I was fucking everything up. So he had to do takes and takes and takes over and over again.
What I gotta do? Read.
Yeah, it was just a difficult transition for me because I like being behind the cameras. So I like being the guy on the floor, not necessarily in the booth, but the one that actually does the countdown without saying 2 and 1. I like being that guy. I didn't like being, on camera. I preferred to be behind the camera.
Did you find out how much better gaffer's tape is than duct tape?
Not necessarily, because all of that stuff was already set up for the studio that we worked in. So like, it's not like we had to like really do all of that. And then, I was working with a teacher on a side hustle that he had that was, he recorded, like a local talk show.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I fucked up one of the episodes. My camera work was so bad that they had to completely scrap that episode because I was the main camera. Because, all right, so here's the thing.
Are we starting the show?
I'll officially start the show after this. So, like when you're into something like that, you kind of look to other people for like inspiration and kind of try to figure things out. So, there was this, actual like real life camera operator, and he changed his setup and it worked great for him. Where, the part where you kind of manipulate the camera, the part that comes out of the back of the camera when you have like a full size camera and tripod and all that kind of stuff. That part, what he did was he switched that to the front. So whereas he was basically hugging the camera and moving it where it needs to go and adjusting on the fly. Well, I decided to try that for the episode of this TV show. And, because I was basically hugging the camera, and since all of my settings and stuff like that to lock and unlock and be able to move the camera were reversed, and I hadn't practiced that, it turned out to be an absolute disaster. It was bad. And because I was the main character, I was the main camera, it just messed up everything, and they had to scrap that whole show. So the fact of the matter was, like, if we were rolling camera on all of the cameras and like had like full recordings on all of the cameras, we probably would have been all right, because they could have just switched to the other cameras when I wasn't fucking everything up. But there was a small little booth, and my teacher was handling all of that stuff on the fly, switching the cameras and recording everything there to the main tape. So there was no way to recover from how bad I was. And like, it was real bad, like super bad. So yeah, that happened to me. I actually had some cool stuff when I took that class. I did one for the school district. where I recorded something for the school district, and like the superintendent of schools actually wrote like a letter of recommendation for like how good we did. I have no idea where that letter of recommendation is. Not that it matters now, but but at the time, the actual superintendent of schools wrote a letter of recommendation for how well we did. Um, so yeah. So rolling start. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Scarfinger. It's Scarcasm. We out here.
Yeah, we is.
Chase is in the building.
I am. And we're on a podcast.
And we are on a podcast. I am recovering. I don't feel as bad. This whole weekend has been terrible for me. I against my better judgment, I wasn't feeling well, and things just weren't going right. So I ended up doubling up on some medicine that I probably shouldn't have, and it completely wrecked my weekend. I mean, wrecked. Like I spent this whole weekend just fucked up, and like I didn't even feel good until I didn't feel decent enough to function until like early this afternoon. And like, so like, if I would have had to go to work this morning, I would have been at work fucked up. Like, so, and it took me like to, take some more medicine and just lay down for a little bit. Well, like I said, I don't typically go to sleep during the day, but, man, this stuff, this shit really fucked me up. Like, I took this stuff on Friday and my whole weekend has been jacked up. So, there's not really a whole lot that I've done. I did watch some TV, watched a ton of YouTube, but I watched some TV, and I think I played a little bit. I played a very, very little bit, but we'll get into that in a minute. How was your weekend, man?
It was good. I just kind of been lounging around. I actually had most of the weekend off, so I kind of been hanging out. I made a badass roast today. Dude, that thing was so good.
Okay, so for all of the people who are actually watching, they're gonna actually get this joke.
Okay.
So when did you start boot camp?
When I started boot camp?
Uh-huh.
I started boot camp right when the podcast started. You're my drill sergeant.
No, like your haircut.
Yeah, I know. I normally like buzz my hair or something during the summer because it's easy and it grows back pretty well, Because normally if I don't know if it's just how my hair grows. If I get like an actual like haircut, when it grows out, it looks terrible. But if I get like a buzz cut, if I grow out, it just becomes shaggy, like a normal shaggy haircut, and you're like, okay, it doesn't look terrible. Like, if I get a normal haircut, it'd be like a pompadour on the top, and then, you know what I mean? At least I'll just, like, be like Shaggy Dude for a little bit.
Yeah, I think for me, I typically just buzz mine. I just take the guard off and just cut it all off. Yeah. And then I try to do a little something with the beard. But, like, with no facial hair, like, it looks like you're about to be in Marines boot camp or something. So that's the only reason why I asked that. But go ahead with your weekend.
I'm from Texas, sir.
I know, but steers and queers. I was shout out to Full Metal Jacket, which my dad was a Marine and that was his favorite movie. Of course, like all the Marines love that movie, especially all of them that have been to the island, that trained at the island. Yeah. So yeah, my dad loved that movie. So, but then again, like, let's be honest, Full Metal Jacket, the good part of Full Metal Jacket is like the first half. Like when they actually go to Vietnam, no one cares about that part at all. Like no one does. Like absolutely no one cares about the second half of Full Metal Jacket. We only care about the training part.
I mean, yeah, I can see that. I mean, I care about the Vietnam part just because I think the Vietnam part has some really cool shots. But that's I mean, most people aren't going to care about that. Like, I think the whole part when they had the that Trashman song was like Surfing Bird or whatever. That whole like Surfing Bird part is just like so cool to me. But
also the second half of that movie is where we got Me So Horny from.
yeah.
I mean, those are the only things I remember. I remember the Me So Horny part, and then I remember that the one part with the snipers that they used again in True Blood.
I haven't seen True Blood.
Okay. So in True Blood, there's a the main vampire dude, he has like a severe disdain for a family. And he doesn't like them at all. And like when he actually explains why, it's like the exact same as the sniper scene from Full Metal Jacket, where they shoot the one person and they just keep shooting that person but not killing him so he could cry out and they could get more people to come out to help. And the more people come out to help, the more people get killed because that one person is still alive crying for his life.
Mm-hmm.
They basically they do that, but it was like a Civil War type situation for True Blood instead of Vietnam, but it's basically the same story. So yeah. And then there's like a revelation later in True Blood, which is like really, really messed up. But that's not something I would really spoil, but it's really kind of messed up. All right. So, you were talking about your weekend and then we just kind of went off on a tangent.
But yeah, this was good. My roast was amazing. I just kind of saw I've been wanting to make a roast for a while, and I have a crock pot, slow cooker, or whatnot, and I just randomly saw a thing on Facebook that was this simple recipe, which was like a Memphis style, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and it was pretty much how you would normally make a roast, but you would use packets, like a packet of the ranch, like where you would make your own ranch dip and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then a packet of the au jus, like the French dip, and
Au jus?
yeah, and then some pepperoncinis around it, and you just cook it for like 10 hours, and that shit was so good because it was like, because that French dip is like kind of like a salty brown sugar and like a little bit of the ranch and stuff. It was like sweet and salty and just really good. I mean, so I highly recommend trying that.
Word up. I don't think I've ever made a roast.
It's super easy. And it's really easy. Like, that's why I like crock pots, and I want to get a pressure cooker as well because it's basically a crock pot that cooks faster. But it makes making shit like that as easy as like popping some freaking chicken nuggets in the microwave. I mean,
Yeah, I really okay. No one wants to make chicken nuggets in the microwave. They're like chew. No one wants gummy chicken nuggets.
what if they do? What would you call that person?
Weird. That's what I would call them. Weird. If you like gummy and chewy chicken nuggets, you are a weird person.
Would it be the same as someone who likes hamburger helper without the cheese?
Well, no, because people who don't like cheese typically go for the hamburger helper that doesn't have any cheese in it, like the stroganoff.
Right.
So like, like my girlfriend doesn't like cheese. But she loves the stroganoff stuff. So like,
but what if they just made like cheeseburger macaroni hamburger helper, but just didn't put the cheese back in, just had hamburger and macaroni?
That seems a bit excessive. Like at some point you just go ahead and just make something else. Yeah. Like if you buy hamburger helper with cheese and like you just don't put the cheese in, like you might as well just made something else. And you might as well just make that shit from scratch. Like there's no point of buying something that has cheese in it just for you to say, I'm not going to put the cheese in. Well, you should have just bought something else.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's that part. That part
I
is
don't know
just
if anybody actually did that, but I was trying to think of like weird shit that you would think.
yeah. The I will say the Velveeta like the hamburger helper joints with the Velveeta ones
Yeah.
are actually really stinking good, man. I don't do a whole lot of hamburger helper, but if I'm cooking for myself or like just me and Pooh Bear, I will do one of those. You know, my girlfriend doesn't like cheese, so
Right.
I can't really just make it if it's gonna be like
Yeah, it's
just
been
something for
weird,
me and
man,
her.
because especially lately, because Hamburger Helper, even though it's an easy thing because you don't even have to like boil the noodles separate. You know, you just cook everything in the same pot. But it used to be a cheap meal because a thing of Hamburger Helper is like $1, maybe a little bit more than $1. But hamburger is like just as expensive as other like not hamburger meats. Like my roast was it was like $14, but like per pound is about the same as hamburger, which is like $4 a pound because it was like
Yeah,
4.5 pounds of freaking meat.
yeah, because I typically spend a little bit of extra and get like the lean
Yeah,
meat, the lean hamburger, and yes, that shit is super expensive. Just for a pound, that's like damn near $5.
yeah,
So I do understand that, but like but what you do when you're in a situation like for your roast, you have to think about it is if I buy three things of hamburger, that's three separate meals I can make with it. For that roast, I'm only making one thing,
yeah. But yeah, you're making one thing,
but
but
I'm not huge on leftovers.
stuff. Okay, here's the thing. Yeah, I'm not using like say a leftover. I don't even know an example right now, but there's certain things that are better the next day because, like, say spaghetti. The
I wouldn't say spaghetti is better the next day. I would say,
anything to where
I'd
the
say
seasoning,
chili.
yeah,
Chili is.
chili, anything to where you have seasoning and stuff, and then also the next day it's better because everything sets and really gets soaked in there.
Yeah, because the last couple of times that I made, the last few times I made spaghetti, I will say that it has kind of been a little bit better, the next day because, when I make it and I, drain the noodles, put everything in, blah, 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 whatever, the sauce is like really, really thin. Like
Hmm.
it doesn't have enough time to like really like cling to everything.
Yeah,
But then afterwards, I get what you're saying. I can roll with that.
yeah, because it'll just thicken up and it'll act. I mix all my stuff together. Like I don't separate my new. Yeah, of course I cook it separate, but like when it's time to serve it, I put the sauce. Everything is a spaghetti meal. You know, I don't
Oh yeah, yeah.
separate
I'm
it.
not one of those people. I'm not one of those people. I actually, I combine. Well, I do the meat, and then I put the veggies in with the meat. Once the meat is close to being done, I put the veggies in so I can cook the veggies, and then I put my sauce in that
Hmm.
and let that all cook together. And then once the noodles are finished, I combine it all. I'm not one of those people that's just like put the noodles on it and put the sauce over top of it. That's like a pain in the ass because I'm like this. Here's the thing. It's all going to be combined eventually anyway.
Yeah,
So why wouldn't I just combine it now?
right. And plus, if you just put a little bit of sauce on there, if you have other people that are eating with you, one person might put a whole bunch of sauce, and another person might put a little bit of sauce, and all of a sudden you have noodles and no sauce because someone over put sauce or whatever. And also, when for one, when you put spaghetti noodles in the refrigerator without sauce on it, like it's just so unappetizing to see noodles with that congealed look.
Yes. And then
So
they start sticking to each other and it's just not very good.
yeah, but when you put the sauce in there, it don't really do that. I mean, it might do it a little bit, but not as bad. And
No,
so
not
yeah,
nearly.
you want coverage on your noodles.
Yes. Why did we get this far into talking about spaghetti? I would, like, sometimes it's like, I was just thinking, like, how did we get here? How did we get
It's
here?
spaghetti, man. You gotta you gotta falafel.
Yeah, you know what? That is the show title. How did we get here? Well, I mean, listen, it goes to, it's a good thing because I didn't really have much to say. Because like I said, I've been sick. So,
I played some things.
okay. What you got?
I have delved into emulation.
Okay.
And at first I was really wanting to build one of those Raspberry Pi things. And but it was mostly for like Nintendo 64 stuff for Amber. But when I was talking to Fred, he was like, the Raspberry Pi, even though you can run 64 games in PS2, they won't run well. Like the Pi is more for like earlier like NES, Super NES, or arcade, shit like that. So I was like, well let me see how I can run it on here. So I got that going, like Mario 64 or whatever. I was like, how about PS2? And then the PS2 thing was absolutely the most simplest thing I've ever done in my life. Like when it comes to something, because I have one called, it's probably the main one, it's called, well damn, my chat's in the way, PCSX2. You just have your ISO, load it into that shit. Fucking Xbox One controller works right out of the gate, full controller support. It emulates a PS2 memory card. Everything was just so like easy, and I was like, it shouldn't be this easy. The only thing kind of programming why I did do, I started playing Persona 3, and what I did since before my shit got stolen, I had got like at least 60 hours into that game and my shit got stolen, right? So I was like, this time I'm gonna fucking play with some badass fucking cheats. So, but to do that in this, you had to like make a certain type of file, search up Game Shark codes, and I found a whole post that had all the Game Shark codes to where I had like unlimited health, like XP is like 10,000 XP on 1 XP, so I went to like level 99 in like 2 fights, so I can just like breeze through the whole fucking thing to get, like, when I realized, because I was on this boss called like the Fortune boss, and I was like, that couldn't have been that far, and it wasn't that far in that game. I looked it up, I was like, fucking October, I'm like in May. Damn, I was far in that game. So I was like, yes, I'm using fucking cheats, I don't give a shit. So I'm a fucking badass in that. But yeah, I originally played Silent Hill 2 again. That was the game that got me back into gaming from like just playing NES. Well, got me into gaming. So everything was just, it worked so well. So I've just been playing PS2 and 64 games, which is kind of weird. I look at this big old PC, I'm like, I'm using you to play fucking almost 20-year-old games.
You know what I did? I went down the rabbit hole. A long time ago, we had a discussion on the Dream Team about Def Jam Vendetta and Def Jam Fight for New York. And that led me to find those through an emulator because, of course, you can't buy those now. The only one that you could probably buy right now is like Icon, and no one likes Icon. So I did that, and I was surprised at how well it actually did work at the time. Everything actually went pretty stinking smooth.
Yeah, and it's, well, the emulator is legal. What's illegal, technically, is sharing and downloading ROMs, you know what I mean? But most companies, except for Nintendo, don't really give a shit, because they're not fucking making money off that shit anyway. You know? I mean, the whole emulation thing is like, they have like cons about that shit, like they don't care. Except for Nintendo, they care. Because they're actually holding on to their IPs.
Nintendo got emulation shut down, right?
They got something shut down. But
I think it was Immunation. I think that's where I got a lot of stuff from. Back when I was doing all of this, I got a lot of stuff from Immunation because it was really simple.
Mm-hmm. And I consider myself like somewhat not liable for anything because I'm only playing, even though I did download the ROMs, I'm playing games I own. Like, I own all those games, except for Mario 64, because I've never owned a 64 at all. Amber owned it at one point. But she was like, I want to buy a 64.
I don't try to justify it as fucking, don't try to justify it at this point. Fuck it. Like, you want to play some old shit. It's not like it's available. None of this shit is available even on the Switch. They don't have a fucking, their back catalog. What's that shit called?
Backwards compatibility?
No, like where you could buy those old games, like on the Wii. What was it called?
Oh, wasn't it called something console?
Virtual
console.
Yeah, none of that shit is on the Switch, except for like if you pay for the Switch service, the online service, you get a bunch of NES games, but like none of the rest of that shit is available. So like, Nintendo can get as mad as fuck if they want to, but it's like the iTunes thing. Like, people stopped downloading shit once Apple made it easy for them to just buy it and be fucking done with it. Or like Spotify made it so that people can just pay a subscription and just fucking be able to do what they want to with it instead of having to go to all of these crazy places just to get this simple thing done.
Yeah, because that's the whole thing. Is like some companies realized people are willing to pay for shit if it's available. Like, it's a pain in the ass to like go through some weird site and have to like close out fucking hentai ads every time you try to download something.
Right?
Like if all the go back to. If all the Persona games were on the PS5, or PS4, I'd own those shits and play them on the fucking PS4. But they're not. So, and the version that I'm playing on the emulator looks better than the emulated version on the PS3 that I bought. Like, I played that shit on a CRT TV just because it looked better on the CRT TV than it did on my HD.
And that's why I dig the fact that Microsoft has pretty much always done backwards compatibility. Like, it's not everyone's favorite feature, but just the ability to go back and play 360 and original Xbox games. Even though there's not, especially when it comes to original Xbox games, there's not a lot. It's still better than nothing. And they just had a sale on like backwards compatible games and stuff like that. And I'm just like, fuck yeah, man. That's dope. Well, and then, then they put some of that stuff in the Game Pass and all that kind of stuff. And I dig that. A lot of people say, like, why are you wasting your time doing this? For people like me, like, you know what I mean? I went back and I rebought the Saints Row games and, some of this other stuff, just to have it and just to have it digitally. So I didn't have to go to my storage unit and find the disc.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was a lot easier to do that than to just spend a couple bucks and just buy it again. When Red Dead 2 was announced, I bought Red Dead Redemption when it became available on backwards compatibility. I just spent a little bit of money that they gave me when they fucked up the whole what's it called? The game that they gave us for free, but it wasn't supposed to be free. Fallout 4, when they gave us Fallout 4 by accident, and then they gave us like a $10 coupon after they took it away. I just used that to pay for Red Dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I mean, when you're talking about that original Xbox games, they have the ones everyone cares about. Like, people think so highly of the original Xbox and the Xbox 360, but they forget all the fucking shuffleware that were on both of those systems.
Yeah, I mean,
the one thing I can say about this generation, you're like, oh, there's no real bangers this time, to where you're like, what is the game of this generation? It's not as easy to pick it as last generation, but there isn't as much shuffleware this time around.
I would say that's the case because all of the shovelware has been put onto the downloadable parts of each of these consoles. You want to see shovelware? Go to the store for the Switch. Shovelware.
Yeah, I've heard.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's bad. Like even like out of mobile games, I don't really dig a whole bunch of mobile games, but I dig Kairosoft games. They make these little mini games and they make my favorite mobile game dev story. But like, yeah, the same game dev story that I paid $1 for on my iPod back in the day, it's like $12 fucking on the Switch.
Switch
And like
tax.
all of those old games are like all of those old Kairosoft games, which I've seen many, they're all like $12 each. And I'm like, bruh, I paid $1 for this. And y'all just, and then like the Switch store is getting just as bad as Steam, where it's just a bunch of shit. And you're just like, how the fuck do I filter out what's actually good from all of this shit?
Right.
So, all right. So what else have you been playing? You've been getting your emulation on?
That's pretty much been it. Like, I haven't went back to Origins in a while. I just kind of got onto that. It's just been kind of refreshing, kind of, because there's some, graphics are, they're a thing. I mean, I think they're important. Like, people that say graphics aren't important, they're fucking talking out of their ass until they go and fucking try to play Silent Hill 1. But there is something to be said about how games were designed back then to where they were, at least in that PS2 era. Like in the earlier days, people were like really nostalgic for like the Nintendo and the Sega and stuff. But back then, games were like 10 minutes long, or at least like 20 minutes long. But they took forever because they was their saves. It was just hard as balls. So at least now we're getting actual content, and I think that started around the PS2 era. And there was some really good shit in that era, I think.
I think a lot of those games, especially, in that era, especially the NES era, they were still under the design philosophy of arcades, where the game, like people talk about like the Ninja Turtles game, but like, that game was designed for you to just drop quarters in. When you have unlimited continues, that game is like 45 minutes long.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because those things were designed for you to fail at some point and have to put another quarter in. Or series of quarters.
I got a bundle on Fanatical that came with the Double Dragon trilogy, and me and Aiden like got to like the last level. It's so quickly. I was like, I think this should have took us longer to get here, but here we are.
I think the hardest part of that one, especially like one like my favorite one, which is Double Dragon 2, was like the platforming levels.
Yeah,
it was just a pain in the ass. And like, you die so much trying to get through that shit. And then it's like, okay, once you get it figured out and you get the timing figured out, that shit is simple. But like, imagine how many quarters it would have took you to get the timing down.
Yeah, we were still getting trumped on that last level of one because it had that part to where the pillars are like shooting out. And yeah, that was a bitch at first. Even now, I was like, "Fuck this!"
Right.
But I just want to shoot. I just want to punch dudes.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
all right. So I think I played 2 things over the past week. Like I said, I haven't played a whole lot. I think I did play 3 things. I played a little bit of Division, but not really a whole lot because I just kind of got disillusioned by the raid. and just kind of like, I just kind of fell back off it. I just don't really care about the raid, especially because people are saying how difficult it is to do on the console. And I'm just like, I'm not here for difficulty. But I did play a little bit of City Skylines. I'm still trying to work out my City Skylines skills and try to figure out how to do this better, because I really would love to get into play a series, and like really kind of go through it and like put out videos and such. I would try to stream something, but you know, my internet fucking sucks. So I can't really do a whole lot of streaming, even though I think streaming something like that or RimWorld or something like that will go very, very well on a stream. But I just don't have the internet that can keep up with that shit without crashing every once in a while. And then I play a little bit of live. I wanted to play just kind of wanted to play something where I didn't have to do a whole bunch of thinking, like being in pain and like not feeling well. I was just like, you know what? I don't want to sit down and have to like play through the Division right now. So let me just play through some live. So I put on some live, and that was a good time. It was just me. I played with the character that I had already had really established. So I was just like, you know what? This is cool. I'm in season 2, and like my character is damn near fully leveled up. You know what? I might as well just do this for a while. So I did that.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah, I need to actually use my PlayStation. I have not used my PlayStation in quite some time, personally. And I bought Live for the PlayStation, and I never actually did anything with it. I really need to,
What?
I really need to, I really need to just, do something more with my PlayStation, and actually start over there. So that'll be, it'll happen sometime.
Yeah.
Because I find it weird. Do you find it weird that a lot of people are like, I don't know. I find this weird. It's a personal thing. A lot of people say that their main is their PlayStation, and they don't use their Xbox very often. And it's the complete opposite with me, but so many people are the other way around. And I'm like, what is it about me to whereas I'm using my Xbox and not using my PlayStation?
I don't know. I mean, that's how I was before I went kind of more the PC route. And I think it's mostly just because, there's, I don't know. 'Cause, I mean, you can see it either way, because both systems, like an exclusive on the Xbox is, it's kind of hard to find right now. And then exclusive on the PlayStation are these, pretty capsulated, really good single player games that you play and then you go into something else. So I don't think it's really
I never thought that.
So you normally would pick one or the other, which one do you want to play your multiplats on, and when you buy them on that system, you just kind of stick with it because you don't want to buy it on another one because you're going to favor the other one more than the other. So, I mean, it's smart to have both and then use one as exclusive machine and the other be your multiplat. I mean, that's the cheapest way to do it,
I am not one of those people that thinks exclusives matter. I'm just not that guy.
I mean, I don't think they're going to matter once, crossplay kind of becomes a thing. They definitely matter in the old way of thinking, of the hardware, because there's got to be something to get you to want to buy the system over the other one. Because it's not the hardware, because, it's a console. You're not buying it for the fucking hardware. So there's gotta be something that draws you over there versus just your friends are over there. You know what I mean?
Right. I think for me, it's the... I think for me, exclusives don't matter because, when a good exclusive comes out, people play them for a little bit, and then we all go back to playing the same third party games.
Well, yeah, you do, but if you don't have an Xbox, you can't play them at all. So you're going to get an Xbox just so you can play Halo, and you'll get the PlayStation just so you can play God of War, and then you'll pick one of them to do your multiplats on. So if God of War and Halo were on both of them, if everything come out for everything, then the console guys would have to do something more than they're doing right now to like get people to like buy their. Because I've always thought exclusive were stupid because you don't have. Well, for the Godfather, you got to have a Panasonic Blu-ray player, but for the Lord of the Rings series, you need a Sony Blu-ray player. You know, that don't happen in anything other than fucking.
Well, that happened with the HD DVD versus Blu-ray thing.
Well, that's a little different, but it don't happen for actual. That's more of a hardware thing, so it don't happen for actual movies. Like there's not like a movie that you can only get on a certain platform unless it's a streaming service. You're not going to watch Stranger Things on Hulu, you know. But that's kind of similar, I guess. But you're not paying $500 for a Netflix box too.
Right.
I mean, what differences in a Fire Stick versus a Roku? Like, there's certain features that they'll do to make people want the other one more. They're not going to say, well, this service is only on this, that, because the fucking Amazon's on the Roku as well. They know, I mean, Roku's not going to be like, we're not going to be on your thing, and Amazon's not going to be like, we're not going to be on your thing because money's money.
Yeah. It's just weird. I just don't feel it, but it's alright.
Yeah, I mean, I think they kind of matter right now, but I just don't like it. Like, you say they don't matter, I just say I don't like it. I've never liked, even if I had both systems, I just think it's really shitty that an Xbox only owner can never play the new God of War, or a PlayStation owner can't play, you know, Halo.
I think the older I get, the more I want the one console future to happen.
Yeah.
Like I would rather have one thing.
Yeah, I would too.
I would rather have one thing and I could just do what I need to.
I mean, it would kind of be like how PC is now, to where, like, you know, you would get a box and then you would download a launcher for Xbox and a launcher for Sony, and you just play all the games there.
Yeah, but then people are just going to complain about that like they are doing for PC right now.
Yeah, I know people are going to complain about everything.
The whole launcher thing is fucking
Have you
stupid.
ever seen, I mean, a Facebook post about anything coming out and there not be at least one laughing emoji? Everybody hates everything. And I'm not saying laughing is like a hate, but yeah, mostly when they're putting that laughing thing, they're like, oh yeah, this is so stupid. It's not, this is funny. Every Destiny post, every Division post, every Anthem post, every whatever post about anything, there's always a laughing symbol. Because everybody just thinks everything's a joke, and everybody just hates on everything. And that's, and it's actually not everybody. It's, if you actually look at that, it only takes one. Look at how many likes versus hearts versus laughing versus angry. The laughing and angry are the smallest one, but they get shown too.
It's all just kind of dumb. Especially when you separate yourself from all of that and you're on the outside looking in, it's all just kind of dumb.
Yeah. Especially when you come to realize, hey, I'm repping for a team that don't give a shit about me. Like Sony and Microsoft don't give a shit about you.
Not at all.
So fucking buy whatever's cheapest. When you can afford the other one, get that. Or if you want to just go the PC route, do that. Do whatever. It's fucking video games. It's not that serious.
No, it's not. Like I'm I don't think I've ever truly been that serious about this. I mean, I used to be very anti Sony, because I have never, I
It's
have
because of Pearl
never,
Harbor, isn't it?
no, I have never had I have, up until, I'm guessing, well, I used to say up until my PS3, I had never had a Sony product that didn't break. But my PS3 is broken, so like the only thing that's left is my PS4. I have never owned a Sony product that didn't break at some point.
Hmm.
So that kind of explained my process. And like trying to get Sony products fixed, like especially consoles, used to be fucking terrible. I mean, what I had to get my PS1 fixed, and it cost me just as much as I paid for it to actually get my PlayStation fixed.
Hmm.
I should have just bought another one, but at the time I had already hustled enough candy to have another one. So I did have two. So it wasn't bothering me to send this thing off, but I could have just bought another one instead of getting that fixed.
Right.
So I think this is a good place to wrap up. I want to mention the two TV shows that I watched. I watched season 3 of Into the Badlands. It is on Netflix. I really, really like that show.
That's that one you were watching when we first started podcasting, right? Were when I first come on the show, to where it was like swords and shit.
Yes, it is a post. It is past the modern age of now, and it's in a future where everything kind of reverted and there's no guns or stuff like that. There are representations of like our world,
Mm-hmm.
like some things like buildings and stuff like that, or things that are referenced, and they just reference that as the old world. But it's very is kind of like if something happened to our society and the country was basically broken up into more of a feudal system. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is like somebody brought feudal Japan into our country.
Right.
So it's really good. But it's gotten into it's gotten into some places where, I mean, the fighting is, it's just impeccably good. Like, it's really stinking good. But like, every time you get to the end of a season, it's such a cliffhanger that I just kind of like, I would hate to be the one to watch this on actual TV and have to wait week to week in order to just get left fucking hanging when the season is over. That would really piss me off. Like, I mean, that would totally piss me off. So, like your mileage may vary. I think it's better to binge it like how I did. And it works out a little bit better for me. Now, the other show that I watched is a show that was currently on TV called The Enemy Within, and it was just something that I just kind of came across on Hulu. And is about, espionage and trying to stop terrorists and all of that kind of stuff. And it's like, excuse me, most of it is typical spy, FBI drama. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of there's a lot of cues to the blacklist in this.
It sounds like something that would be along the lines of that Will Smith movie,
Enemy of the State.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, because this takes the perspective of the FBI, and they're trying to catch a specific terrorist dude, but like this one lady who used to be a CIA agent, and she's considered a traitor because she got some other CIA agents killed. but they basically have to bring her in order for them to get her help in order to catch this guy who was a terrorist and keeps doing basically almost every episode is some sort of domestic terrorism plot that they need to stop, all orchestrated by this one guy. So I you know what? I will say I enjoyed it. It's one of those things to whereas if it wasn't something that just popped up on Hulu and I was just like, it looked interesting, but I don't, this ain't really my type of shit. But like, me and my girl watched it and I think we dig it.
You still watching the thing about the girl in the wheelchair?
Oh, that's finished.
Okay.
That's finished, and apparently that's going to be an anthology series. So the next season is going to be a completely separate, storyline or whatever. That was just the first season and that's ended. So you know what? I enjoyed that. I think there was some pieces of it that they left out. Some of it I understand why they left it out. Like, when they killed her mom, they went in the room next door and then kind of had sex, after mom got stabbed, like just stuff like that. Like, what I mean? Like there's some things that probably should have been left out, but I thought it was actually pretty well done.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the two things that I have watched. Well, there's two things that I watched more than anything else, over this past weekend, especially this weekend. I watched the whole season, of Badlands. I watched that whole season the last 2 or 3 days. I watched that whole season. So it's just one of those things. But actually, hold on. Let me see. I think, wait a minute. I think what the cliffhanger, I don't think they put the whole season of the third season onto Netflix. I think it was the first half of the season. That's why it was cut off like that. Okay. So now that makes a whole lot more sense. The way that it just kind of stopped like that. I think it was the first half of the season. So, okay. So that makes me feel better about it because I'm like, the way that this ended, I'm not sure I dig this.
Right.
But yeah. All right. So, anything else you got?
Nope.
All right. Well, I don't think I have much of anything either. We thank y'all for listening to the show. We also thank y'all for listening to Casual Conversation by the Digicast. New episode went up today. And we appreciate you, checking that show out and go out and check the Digicast main feed. They have other shows over there that are kind of separate from these, but we're all just kind of collaborating and just kind of doing our thing. The downloads are still pretty good, surprisingly. Because somebody never actually recorded their solo show. I'm not going to say who.
It was Sam, wasn't it?
Nah.
Sam hasn't recorded his.
Yeah, but like no one is expecting Sam to do his. We're expecting you to do yours. You said you were going to do it, and you had a month to get it done, and you haven't done it. A month.
I like to keep people on the edge of their seats.
We don't want to be on the edge of our seats.
This is a thriller from 1999. I don't know. Sarcasm.
Really? Okay, fine. So again, thank you to everybody for checking us out. We very much appreciate y'all. Hopefully I'll get to do more once I start feeling better. So I have more things to talk about. I did some paintings for my coworker. I've been doing some painting, but not as much as I would prefer. So that's just going to take some time. But I did do the paintings for Cam, who won the contest on the YouTubes. And, man, we just got more stuff for you. So
yeah,
thank y'all again. We appreciate y'all being here for us to be able to do this for you. So
shout out to Fred Rojas because he has helped me out a lot with this whole emulation thing.
my man Rojas. Shout out to Rojas. We need to have Rojas on. We need to bring Rojas on. We also need to get Will on. There's a couple people that we need to get on.
Yeah.
All right. So until we get everybody on, we're gonna say peace out to the Morgans, yo, and we're out of here. This is Scarcasm.
Later.
I like that shit, yeah, boy. Yeah, I'm telling you, Whoa. I'm telling. All right, I ain't gonna talk.